love this point choreo a lot. Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And we're going to be taking a look at ENHYPEN's Sweet Venom. This is a studio tune version, so I'm excited because this is my first reaction on the channel to ENHYPEN. I've seen them before. But it is going to be the first time I look at them in this way. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Especially if you are a fan of this group, I would love to learn a lot more about them because I don't know very much at this time. But how I go about this is I'm going to react to the full video without stopping it, so you'll get my initial thoughts, and then from there I'm going to go back and analyze the entire thing. So without further ado, let's check it out. I like the track. I like how he did that accent, very nice. Michael Jackson aesthetic. Love the shoes. Little sneeze happening there. Great key point choreo. Interesting that everybody's wearing neutrals except for him. Nope, just kidding. Velvet red over here. That's what ties in them well. Choreo really matches the aesthetic of the track. Not what I was expecting. Definitely expecting more, when Venom's involved, more like a darker type of concept. So this is really fun. They do have some cringy boy group moments though, I'm not gonna lie, with our lip through, but Venom a lot of times comes from the mouth, so I get it. Love having the chill moment here. Love the little baby popping fundamentals in play there. I really love this point choreo a lot. Venom. That's cool. Music performance. Oh, performance direction. And the ending fairies. I gotta stay through to the ending fairies. I really do feel though that a lot of people, or at least with the boy groups, I really don't think they take themselves so seriously like that. When they watch the playback, I would be shocked if they're like, ooh, they may be making fun of each other. That would be my guess. That's the kind of energy they give off, is that they kind of vibe well together. But based on my other interactions on seeing them on my recommended, I feel like they get along with each other well. But you let me know. But starting from the beginning, initial thoughts, I really like this song. It is very tasteful. It gives that, honestly, it feels more like a summery vibe, but probably because of the octave that they're choosing to do it in, as well as BPM and some of the backbeats. It does give a very Jonas Brothers aesthetic in the, at least from my culture, at least on that kind of just with Jonas Brothers, like more recent things or that era in between their older era and to now, it kind of is vibing into this realm, which is why I'm pretty much, and I very much enjoy the track because it feels very nostalgic to some degree, as well as relatable, a vibe, and how the choreography is presented also comes across that way, which is what I really like. Okay, so starting from the very top here, they start boom, bringing it around. I really like the formation. How many people are in this group? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. So I say this every time, and I'm going to continue to say it because who knows if this is your first video or not. But whenever you operate with an odd number, things tend to look more symmetrical naturally when you have a one-person feature. And with groups specifically in K-pop, you do have a lot of one-person features. So a lot of times when companies debut, most of the time they will debut with an odd number is what I've noticed, because it's just way easier on a choreographic sense to frame it effectively with a 1-point feature. So I really like, though, the usage of the levels at the forefront, having your feature in the tail and the back as you start, and then having people level it out near the bottom, transitioning it over, them having an accent up at the top, and because of your lower individual, he's looking up, it naturally wants us to look at what's happening up here. So I really like that choice specifically. And they melt it out, so now you have your feature in the back. Studio Choom has really cool lighting. I will give them that. It's super cool. They do take a more like concept, very close-up approach. I do know that. But I do think this is totally fine. It looks great. Matches the, it's just a really great way to showcase them in a different venue outside of a music video or a live music core, you know, based thing. I think it's just really fun that we have this. And honestly, we end up seeing Studio Choom release stuff faster than they release the dance practices, which I think is interesting. I like how he just does a simple finger up, causes everybody to want to neutralize up in the first angle. He goes, hey! So it's just very playful. I think how they're also singing is very playful and conversational, which I really like. And the choreo matches it too. Looking over, he's the only one who uses his hand, maintains feature context, not just the camera, but how he's moving. Everybody else is moving their head. He's the only one who uses his hand to direct. I love that. D. Everybody else go do. Framing well. Really love the collaboration between the feature and the dancers thus far. And then he still bleeds through. He creates more tension with his hand. Everybody uses their head. And it makes sense why he doesn't use his head, because when you're vocalizing, any neck or chest utilization in any way, shape, or form, you always run the risk that your lung capacity or how you project is going to be modified. So that's why you a lot of times see when people are featured, they do modifications of choreography, especially if the choreo is more difficult or more polyrhythmically complex, because it just helps them be able to refine their vocals. But I really like that they're all up, and then we're down to our levels. I love that you have 4 that are symmetrically framing your group of 3, still having your feature here, and then you have it's kind of closed off. Everybody's reaching with the gun. Probably a wordplay thing with the chest. Then they all rotate around. Back to the columns. Boom, doom, doom. It was a really nice bass choice in how they go 6, 7, 8. Like they started about halfway through the 8 count instead of in the beginning. So I really liked that. That was fun. It was a really nice way to integrate themselves back in from their transition. I love the brushing of the jacket and causing them to have a reaction, which I really like. But notice there that in the columns, it's easier to hide when it's not symmetrical, because on your, like, it really just looked like on my, we're missing someone. Hold on. It just looks like we were missing someone there, or it could be somebody was really off. Hold on. Now I'm curious. Let's go back. Oh, now they're back. Go back a little bit more. Here we go. Okay, so now they're all here. So we can see all of them, but before, in this previous cut, you're going to notice that is mad impressive. Okay, it's either he's too far back or they are very much in line. So if you look here, it could be a camera thing. You can distinctly see all 3 of them, each head peeking out from the other. But notice here you have one of them that is kind of tucked away. It's either he's too far to the back, or it's the camera angle, or that's the ideal circumstance where you want it to genuinely look like there's only one person on each side, which would be a really cool goal, but normally it does look nice and it frames better whenever you can see everybody, unless you're trying to come up with a very specific visual, which is what we end up seeing a little bit later. Whenever he comes forward, you see them a little bit more now. They melt through, then they come in a straight line. So that's whenever you want people to disappear. So whenever they do any accents to the outside, like that, it just looks a little bit more structured, or it looks a little bit more, it's just, nah, what's the right word? Not sporadic. It feels more I can't create the right word, so I'm just going to move on from that. But anyway, it does vibe better whenever you have people who are able to create more levels or demonstrate a more complex interpretation of you just standing there. I think more details are allowed to be elaborated in that section. So now you have he branches out. So here's why it was very easy to tell who your next feature was. No, it is not because of the camera, because everybody's being viewed equally. No, it is not because he is moving his mouth. It is not because he is wearing red, because you have somebody else representing red. It is because he used his arm up a little bit higher, and cognitively we're going to want to focus on whoever is the outlier. And for him, not only is his outfit more of a, not a fragrant color, but it's a more flamboyant color, because even the velvet is muted in the back, but he's also demonstrating some form. I know somebody else moved their arm, but not nearly as tall of an extension, and I think that really helps in this case. And then you notice with a lot of features. I love this boom and boom, and then bleed it up with the finger. Super fun, ties in together what we saw earlier. I have a very like James Brown aesthetic about this. Yeah, da-da, da-da, and very Michael Jackson, you know, which is fun. I like this. This right here, sweet, so catchy. Honestly, this is probably, out of a lot of the newer songs that have come out, this is probably one of my favorite tracks, just isolated, that I have heard. A lot of times when I hear a track, when I watch the dancing, the dancing helps it reinforce or support the track, and it makes me enjoy the track more. Here, I actually was enjoying the track and enjoying the progression of the build of it. This is a Spotify added track in my book. I think I may add this to my liked songs and see where I place it playlist wise. But I definitely like this one a lot, and it took me a second to realize that I'm here doing a choreographic analysis, not a song analysis. So I really very much enjoy the song. The choreo reinforces it, but I don't think you need choreo to really, like, this is a banger. I like this song a lot. And because of what I've already said, and they're looking over and drop it. Of course, we have some of them that are really invested with their head. Some of them are projecting more front. And so I think that's just more so of a preference. But then as they do like that little Ranajam with the slide, really nice. It's just like, you know, it holds out the note. So whenever you do a move that holds out, it really justifies that tone really well. So I love that choice. That little that was fun. A little sneeze. I like the choice where it's super chill, just da-da-da, and it transitions over into the shoulders. Super fun. And then having your feature in the middle. Of course, in the middle, you're going to naturally assume that they're your feature, but he used the hand to help bring about to the front to really showcase and validate that he is our feature for that section. Down into a little Harlem Shake right here. I'm going to be honest, Sweet Venom. This reminds me of smoking. I know that could very well not be the case, but whenever I see this by the mouth, I know they're like sweet. It could be sign language that I'm missing out on, not sure. But whenever I see people do this, I know they're just closing with one. So maybe we'll just not even use that as a reference. But normally when people have like two and only just have like one hand up, it looks like they're smoking. So that's just a little note for me, is that some of them are grabbing from not the index, but the middle, but some of them are grabbing from the index. So I actually think it's interesting that they didn't clarify that, because you've got about, yeah, he's grabbing from the index, he's grabbing from the middle, and even using his other one. Could be a flexibility thing, and this one's kind of bending, and then you have very clear. So that would be something that for me, if I was cleaning a group, because I clean competition pieces, I would clarify that. Like, that's something that, especially if you're doing unison choreo, little details like that, if you want to make it like really look spicy and super clean, those would be the types of details you would touch on, because the range of your fingers will be off if you don't touch on those types of things. But I really like the pull and pull. But because it's always moving and it's not a stagnant position, I think it's fine for this comeback. Molding it down, dripping it down with the head. Super fun. Right there, that line is just a little bit off. He's a little bit more forward. But I love this point choreo so much because it's very addictive. Like, it's very easy to get. Things that are addictive are things that you're able, like, you have a really quick turnaround or a quick rush of competency. So for me, I'm like, the fact I was able to get this in 2.5 seconds, yes, I'm a professional dancer. Yes, my choreography retention is above average for the typical human. I understand that. But it's still really nice for me to catch something in 3 seconds. Like, that's really fun, which means it's going to be very applicable to the general public. So this will be a really fun challenge to do because there's a lot of viral moves that are in play. You got a little bit of Harlem Shake in here, a little smeeze in here. So things that people are pretty familiar of in the social media world, you know? So I really like that, the dip through. So I do know he's probably my feature here. I get that. I do feel like this line could have been a little bit more defined, just to make it that crisp, nice straight line, especially if they're doing unison in any way, shape, or form. It just refines it. If you want a refinement on these details, when you're doing something isolated like that, you really don't want other factors to influence whether or not that is going to be your focal point. So that's just my overall note that I'm noticing here. I really feel like there's a lot of details that I feel like information that if those were cleaned up, it would really set this to a different level. But I know with Studio Tune, it is different than a refined dance practice where they had mirrors and then they just film it. Like, it's very different, and I get that. So, but this is really fun. So now we're back to my fellow with my feet. Why did I call him a fellow? Bless it. My feature, very flamboyant jacket in the middle. I do think it's interesting. We are featuring him in a similar way that we've already seen him feature. So that would be a choreography note. I would want to see him showcased in a different way than just in the center in more of a circular formation. Regardless if the levels are different or they're accenting differently, that's just an overall note on the choreographer, not on them. Like that, doon, and just creates tension. Really great. Love the usage of the levels here. It's fun to see more of a lower level, a midline, but then you have your feature right here. Everybody's spaced out. You can see everybody, which we really like to see. I love that. Da-da-da-da-da. That was fun. Very tasteful. Goes into the point. I love where they're pointing, that they're looking with their head, like with the other dancers, which I really love. Super fun. Hits boom, like it was kind of like a little reverb that he did right there, or a little pop right there. Yeah, he did a little pop, and then, oh sorry, I just shook the table with it, but like whenever they pop, they cause everybody to react to the ground. This is another note too. You notice when I pause it, they are doing something in unison, so they should all technically look the same. These two guys look freaking very close in similarity. These two look close in similarity, and this is a really good case of, and these two guys look really close in similarity. Now they're all doing the same thing. Yeah, they're all doing the same thing. But I will tell you this. It could also be a factor of whenever you're next to somebody, let's say you have partners, or you have somebody that whenever you're peripherally keeping yourself in check on the choreography clarification, you're naturally going to want to cater to whoever's closest to you. Especially if you're back here, you're going to cater to the person most in front. Over in the back is people who are normally share the line with you. It's normally what ends up happening. So you end up having little sections like what we're seeing here, where even though it's supposed to be unison, the execution, getting in and getting out, are slightly different because they're influenced off of each other in their little groupings in comparison to everybody as a whole. That to me reads possibly that there's a chance when they clean choreo, they may split up and partner up, or it could be whenever they clarify it, they go off of each other, and they don't do, like, go off of the peripheral accountability more so than the, okay, we got to really clarify going in, going out, or it could be a lot of these guys, struggle to do this particular move. It is tricky to do because it's the one leg stability, and then some of them kind of landed with their knee inverted in an interesting way where it's not in line with the foot. So that's just another note too, you know. But this was nice where they have the framing up with the hands. Super fun. Love to see it. Now they opened and then allowing our next feature to come forward. Really nice place. And because I had the hands there, it helped us be able to psychologically know something's about to happen over there. And it was really nice to see that something did in fact happen. So we were already ready for it in a good way, which I really like. The uses of the suspenders are really fun. Really takes that approach. I like that where he lay down, having somebody frame on the outside is really nice. Having them down to justify the levels as well as the gimmick or the accent of the dynamics that they were trying to do. Everybody transitioning, instead of having your feature, he was creating more of a tension-based perspective, which I really like. I think it's super fun. Yeah, so I feel like I've already kind of covered all of this. And then I love the polyrhythmic of the shifting of the heels into that, which is really nice. I like that ding ding in the accent. And there's that boy crush cliche boy group aesthetic. This right here, this right here, this right here, all of that. It's just, that's a Gen 2 thing if I ever saw it, you know? But I love da-da-da, 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 and as the tone gets more full, they make the movement more full, and I love it. Sweet Venom, I love that. Dance break looks really nice. Dun, 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 really matching when that sound is in play. They are utilizing it, and I love seeing that. Really fun. Yeah, dun dun dun, right now. Fun, fun, fun. Yeah. That was fun having your feature on the side. I appreciate that more. And then going into a really nice straight line. That was great. I love this. Sweet. It just feels like a, you know, it just gives that vibe and how they hit it there. Sweet. And just, that was a great moment. Great usage of the line. Great moment of a breather for them. And using the jack, dropping them down. And then they're going, nice, vibing. But notice that you have your feature. Of course, the camera's closer, but he's the only one that's actually doing anything with his hands. That is registering to us. Something's happening over there. We gotta check it out. Love the throwing that jacket back on. Super fun. That means you're gonna be pretty playful with what kind of concept you're going with, because you have that jacket moment, jacketography. But it's not like so much so that even if you did this without a jacket, it'd still look fine. You can just kind of accent with the shoulders. But it is nice to have a little gimmick there with their outfit. Super fun. Now I will say though, one of them went a little bit too big for them not trying to be the feature for that section. Yeah, so notice that what happened. I don't know if I can catch it because it just happened so fast. No! Try again. There we go. Okay, so if you notice that a lot of them just kind of hit to that, not even 25. It was really low in the foot. So he lifted his a little bit more, about 25 degrees. There's about 10. Not barely lifting it up. He's hitting a cool, like, 52, you know. I feel like that's just my really big thing. He's pretty big on the arms, not very. I just kind of caught it when you think about it. He's not. I don't think he's singing there. I just really think that's just my in general note of just clarifying, making sure everybody's hitting it the same way, especially if a movement ends up making you look or appear like you are supposed to be the feature when you are not. So that's just my overall note. He's the one singing, and that's how I can verify that he's the feature, not him. I love that. A little bit of strutting influence from popping, which is super fun. With pop, with the hits. Now what he's doing is he's not doing a chest pop, he's doing a chest bop. And there's a difference. A pop is an external chest hit, a bop is an internal chest hit. So an internal means that it's like a flexation of like the curving. It's like you flex your diaphragm and you're not thinking out with the ribs. It's more of a contraction towards the inside. I think it's the best way I can explain it without standing up to show. But that is what we're seeing there, and that's why it looks powerful but refined, which I really like. And you could just see it based on how kind of, what's the verbiage? Yeah, because he's taking his shoulders and he's shoving his shoulder blades down into the lats as he's creating this moment, not just using the arm, but using the shoulders, which I really like that choice. It makes it look bigger. That little do-do-do, and then it's yeah, but my one note is we're now over here instead of right here, right by the mouth. So I wonder if that was intentional or not. Sweet. I really liked that sweet Honestly, I wonder if they're supposed to go across sweet instead of sweet. You know, these read very differently. But, you know, to each their own. Y'all let me know. I don't know very much about the concept or what the true nature was going for. I'm assuming that she is Sweet Venom, or I am Sweet Venom to you. I want to be Sweet Venom. I really like this moment here where you have 4 of them slowly come up and then you only have 3 of them do it. Really great way to tie that back in and everybody do it. Really nice refined formation. This is probably the cleanest formation that they have showcased, and I really like that. Very clean, very defined, and everybody's nailing it. And also, I think part of it, this is also another reason. Look at the color coordination of their formation. You have your blacks, then you have more of your neutral earth tones, and then you have your flamboyant reds. So I like that a lot. That's why this really reads a little bit more refined here, is that as well. I like, and then I like this too, where it just kind of dies out in the sound except for the vocals. Venom. Then it goes Venom. Now that right there, I don't know what that symbol is. Venom. It low-key, based on how they have it, it looks like they're taking a shot. Maybe that's, you know, sometimes people call alcohol poison. Could be that. You know, I don't know. I'm just speculating. Educated guesses here because this is Korean. I got about a first grade level equivalence of it. But I really like the symmetry of how this finishes out. Because of how beautifully symmetrical it was earlier on, my one note, I understand why they have him in the center. Which honestly, I think like they really couldn't have done much with, I guess, with the coordination of the jackets. Because for me, I would either want him right here, or have him over here, and then have him move out, and have him move in. Just little notes, just a preferential thing than anything. But all in all, though, this was really enjoyable. I definitely feel like I got to see a really nice, honestly, this is a freaking great track, so I'm honestly glad I clicked on it anyway, because the choreography is really nice. I think it's refined on them, tasteful. I'm really hopeful that they get a lot of people, if this ends up being a challenge, to get a lot of people to do it, because I think it's very applicable to multiple demographics of people, even those who are not professionals or who do dancing as like a hobby or a pastime. Like, this is a fabulous one to feel successful at. Honestly, is what this feels like to me. It's very laid back. I would say the pocket that they chose to explore is more laid back, which can be difficult for people who don't normally do that, but it just kind of ebbs and flows depending on your vibe, honestly. But I very much like this, and I feel like ENHYPEN will be on this channel a lot more in the future for sure. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I was helpful in some way. If you want to see more K-pop, more dance content in general, I have that all over YouTube as well as on Patreon. Everything is early released on Patreon, just like this video. I actually reacted to this earlier today compared to the release date of this, which was in the evening time, as you can see from the daylight. So if you want to see these videos as I make them and edit them and get them on Patreon, that's a really great avenue to explore. But if you're just totally fine with seeing what pops up every day, that's also okay too. Anyway, I'm Jess. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye!